All right, let's dive right in to the world of the Sindh Ibex. We've got this really interesting essay here, all about this remarkable mountain goat antler. We're going to figure out what makes this creature so special. So get ready to explore some pretty unique adaptations, the challenges of its mountain home, and maybe even some surprising cultural connections.
Yeah, you know what really stood out to me in this essay was how it highlighted the ibex's like adaptations to the super harsh environment. It's not just surviving, it's like thriving, in this landscape that would be
Yeah,
daunting for most creatures.
absolutely. And the
Mm.
essay really paints a picture. Imagine like a goat with these huge horns, like up to a meter long, just effortlessly scaling these cliffs
Mhm.
in the mountains of Pakistan. It's almost mythical.
It really is. And those horns are a perfect example of form follows function in nature. The essay points out that the males use them for like dominance displays and even battles, during mating season. But they're also incredibly effective for defense against predators.
Wow, it really makes you wonder what a clash between two males high on a cliff edge would look and sound like. I bet it's an incredible sight.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just the horns. The essay describes the hooves as being like split, almost like pincers, giving them incredible grip on those steep, rocky slopes. They've evolved perfectly for this, challenging terrain.
Yeah, fascinating how evolution has fine-tuned them to this environment. Speaking of the environment, the essay mentions that the Sindh ibex is primarily found in the arid mountains of Sindh, and specifically in the Kirthar National Park. What makes this habitat so unique?
Well, it's incredibly rugged and unforgiving. With limited vegetation and water sources, the ibex has adapted to survive on sparse vegetation and can even go for extended periods without drinking water. This resilience is a big part of what makes them so fascinating.
Yeah, it really makes you appreciate their toughness. The essay also mentions that the Sindh ibex is a keystone species. For those who may not be familiar with that term, what does that mean in the context of this ecosystem?
A keystone species, like the Sindh ibex, has a disproportionate impact on its environment relative to its abundance. So, if you remove the ibex, the whole ecosystem could collapse. They play a crucial role in shaping the vegetation through their grazing, and also serve as a vital food source for predators, like leopards and wolves.
So they're not just another herbivore, they're like a linchpin holding this whole system together.
Yep.
That's amazing. The essay also spends some time talking about the ibex's role in the local culture. It's not just an animal, it seems to have a deeper meaning for the people of the Sindh region.
Right. What's interesting is how the essay shows that the Sindh ibex has been woven into the art and folklore of the region, symbolizing strength and resilience. It's almost like a cultural icon, representing the spirit of the mountains and the people who live among them.
I'm curious, how does that cultural significance play into the conservation efforts for the Sindh ibex? Does it offer any advantages?
Well, for one thing, it means there's a pre-existing respect and admiration for the animal within the local communities. This can be a huge asset for conservationists trying to build support for protective measures.
That makes a lot of sense. If people already value the ibex culturally, they're more likely to be invested in its survival. The essay also mentions something called ecotourism. Can you explain what that is and how it relates to the Sindh ibex?
Ecotourism is a type of tourism focused on experiencing natural environments while minimizing harm, and often directly benefiting conservation efforts. In this case, the Sindh Ibex, with its unique beauty and cultural significance, attracts visitors from all over the world. This not only generates income for local communities, but also raises awareness about the importance of protecting the species.
So it's like a win-win situation both for the ibex and for the people who share its habitat. It sounds like the Sindh ibex has a pretty good thing going. It's perfectly adapted to its environment. It's got a secure place in the local culture and even benefits from ecotourism. But I have a feeling this essay isn't all sunshine and roses, is it?
You're right. So far, we've seen how well the Sindh Ibex has adapted to its niche. But this essay doesn't shy away from the reality that even a master of survival like this faces some serious challenges.
So let's talk about these challenges. What are some of the main threats that the Sindh ibex faces, according to this essay?
Well, habitat destruction is a big one. The essay points to like urbanization and mining, and agricultural expansion as major culprits. These activities encroach on the ibex's already limited habitat, fragmenting their populations and making it harder for them to find resources.
Yeah, it's like a slow squeeze,
Hmm.
pushing them into smaller and smaller areas. What about poaching? The essay mentioned that as a problem too, right?
Yeah, sadly, poaching is still a major concern. Those magnificent horns, a symbol of strength and resilience, are also a target for the illegal wildlife trade. It's a tragic irony that what makes them so unique also puts them at risk.
It's heartbreaking to think about. And the essay also mentioned climate change. as like an emerging threat. How is that impacting the Sindh Ibex?
Climate change is a complex issue with, far-reaching effects. In the case of the Sindh Ibex, it's already altering weather patterns and impacting the delicate balance of their mountainous ecosystem. The essay mentions that increased temperatures and unpredictable rainfall are leading to changes in vegetation patterns, which can directly affect the ibex's food sources.
It sounds like a dire situation.
Yeah.
Is there any good news here? Does the essay offer any solutions or reasons for optimism?
It does. While the essay doesn't sugarcoat the challenges, it does highlight some crucial conservation initiatives that are making a difference. For example, the establishment of protected areas like the Kirtha National Park, which the essay describes as a crucial stronghold for the Sindh Ibex, is a significant step in the right direction.
So, like, setting aside land specifically for their protection, that makes a lot of sense. But what about the people who live in and around those areas? Are they involved in the conservation efforts at all?
Yeah, that's where community-based conservation programs come in. The essay emphasizes the importance of involving local communities in protecting the Sindh Ibex. These programs often focus on reducing human-wildlife conflict and promoting sustainable practices. They also provide alternative livelihoods, so people aren't reliant on activities that harm the ibex or its habitat.
It sounds like a multi-pronged approach, which is encouraging. Combining protected areas, community engagement, and responsible tourism seems like a solid strategy. But I'm also curious about the role of research and education. What does the essay say about that?
Research and education are crucial. The essay points out that the more we understand about the Sindh Ibex and its ecosystem, the better equipped we'll be to protect it. Ongoing research helps us to monitor populations, understand their behavior, and identify the most effective conservation strategies.
And education helps to build awareness and inspire people to take action.
Yeah, exactly. By sharing knowledge about the Sindh Ibex and its challenges, we can create a sense of responsibility and empower people to become advocates for its protection. Remember, conservation isn't just about saving a species. It's about protecting biodiversity and the delicate balance of our planet.
That's a powerful message. The Sindh Ibex may seem like a creature far removed from our everyday lives, but its story is a reminder that we're all connected and that our actions have consequences.
Absolutely. The essay does a great job of driving that point home. The Sindh Ibex, with its resilience and adaptability, serves as an inspiration for us all. It reminds us that even in the face of adversity, life finds a way.
It makes you wonder what we can learn from the Sindh Ibex's story. What lessons can we apply to our own lives and challenges?
That's a great question, and I think it's one the essay subtly encourages us to ponder. The Sindh Ibex faces its challenges head-on, adapting to a rugged landscape, navigating threats, and continuing to thrive.
There's a certain poetry in that, isn't there? This creature facing down habitat loss, poaching, and climate change, yet still embodying strength and resilience. It's a powerful message of hope and perseverance. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of the Sindh Ibex, what are some key takeaways you think our listeners should walk away with?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway for me is the realization that even a creature as seemingly isolated and specialized as the Sindh Ibex is deeply interconnected with its environment, the local culture, and even the global community.
You're right. It's a reminder that what happens in one corner of the world can have ripple effects elsewhere.
Exactly. And it really underscores the importance of taking a holistic approach to conservation. Protecting a species like the Sindh Ibex requires addressing this complex web of factors, from habitat loss and poaching to climate change and sustainable development.
Yeah, this deep dive has definitely given me a new appreciation for the complexity of these conservation efforts.
It's not just about setting aside land or banning hunting. It's about understanding these intricate relationships within an ecosystem and finding ways for humans and wildlife to coexist.
It sounds like a daunting task. But this essay gives us some reasons to be hopeful, right? Like those conservation initiatives, the community-based programs, and the growing awareness through ecotourism. They all point in the right direction.
Absolutely. And that's where our listener comes in. This deep dive has given you a glimpse into the fascinating world of the Sindh Ibex, but it's also a call to action.
So what can our listener do to make a difference?
There are so many ways to get involved. You can support organizations working on the ground in Pakistan, educate yourself and others about the importance of biodiversity, and make conscious choices in your everyday life to reduce your environmental footprint. Even small actions can have a big impact.
Yeah, it's a reminder that we all have a role to play in protecting our planet and the incredible creatures that call it home. So to our listener, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and consider how you can be a part of the solution. The future of the Sindh Ibex and countless other species depends on it.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of the Sindh Ibex. Until next time, keep diving deep into the wonders of our world. And remember that even in the face of adversity, resilience and hope can prevail.